What are the signs when a business is failing? Ni sign gani ambazo zinafaa kukwambia now this business is supposed to close it, and this is no longer a healthy business, and I'm supposed to think of transitioning either to a different business or doing the same business in a different way, right? There's some of the businesses that are very toxic, can be exhaustive, and can actually, get yourself into depression or something of sort. So in today's episode, I'm solely gonna focus on what are the toxic signs of a business. When are you supposed to do what I call the tactical withdrawal from that given business? All right, so make sure you watch the whole video so that you get all the requirements. And I'm pretty sure you are here because you're concerned about your business, and this is the best place you can be as far as this episode is concerned. So let's move along and let's get to discuss what exactly entails for you to make sure that at least you have a second thought as far as your business is concerned. All right, so what I can say is that number one, there are signs that you can see in a business that are very worrying, right? For example, you can have a business, maybe let's say it doesn't, from the time that you did establish that business, doesn't have not taken that long, but again, you realize that the business doesn't make you money. What do I mean? That you do not gain something out of the business, like you do not get as what you prospected that you're supposed to get. But again, if you look at the business, you realize that it is able to pay its own bills. For example, the power bills, the rent, or maybe pay your employees if you have or if you don't. But you realize that the business is at least able to sustain itself. Just give it time. At that particular moment, we usually say that the business is not paying you, but the business is rewarding itself. It is establishing the base and the roots to understand the environment that it is in. All right, just be a little bit cautious and patient, because I know one thing, it can be disheartening because you're realizing that you're not getting as what you prospected. Maybe if you go back to the business plan, you realize that you're supposed to be making 2,000, 1,000, but you're not making anything, right? So that's the time that you're supposed to give it time, get to see what it's up to, because after all, it is paying its own rent, it is paying its own bills or something of sort. Just give it time. Maybe it is making its own base and road and determining whether it's able to move to the next level. At that particular moment, just hold up. Just hold up a little bit and get to see how it goes, right? There are another step that you can be able to realize as far as the business are concerned. There are this type of business you realize that business is not able to pay its own bills. You realize that you have to go back to your pocket to pump the resources in the business. For instance, maybe you want to pay your bills like rent or power or something of sort. The business is not able to sustain itself. But again, this one you're supposed to digest it with a point of cautiousness. Number one, you have to know this. After establishing your business, I always advise people, always have a rent ready for the next 3 to 4 months, ready with you. This is amount of money that you use to revamp your business, to make sure that you support the business for it to move to the next level. But again, if you realize you've already exhausted the 4 months, the business is still not able to pay its own rent, the traffic or the customer turnout is not as per the what we call as per the business plan, then you are supposed to make sure that at least don't get yourself exhausted and putting a lot of resources into this business, because you never know what way it may turn. This is what I call the dilemma state, whereby you find that it is on a junction. It can take any route. It can take the route of being successful, or it can take a route of failing and actually nose diving your resources into the ditch, and you lose a lot of money. So at that particular moment, you're supposed to be very cautious and careful and ask yourself, at this particular moment, do I have more resources to sustain this business and move it to the next level? Or do I have patience? Or should I close this business? Because we never say closing business. Personally, I don't address it as closing business. I call it tactical withdrawal. When I say tactical withdrawal, it simply means that you've not given up, right? Because some of the businesses that you do establish, honestly speaking, some of them are doomed to fail. Some of them, maybe you made a wrong decision when judging the environment. For example, you cannot you know take an irrelevant business to a relevant place. You cannot take a general shop to a high-end places like a posh area or something of that. Nobody will buy from that place, all right? Sometimes you cannot even able to establish that kind of business of that place. So just get to see what decision you made that was wrong at that particular or on that particular business, all right? So it's always good to flash back and ask yourself, what mistake did I make? So what am I saying? So what are the signs did I say that I'll mention that are good for you to know this is a toxic business? Number one, when a business does not generate its own income, cannot sustain itself, you need to go back to your pocket to sustain it above or beyond the 4 month period that I said that you're supposed to able to pay the house rent or the other bills as far as that business is concerned. Once you exit that 4 months, excuse me, or 6 months, and then you realize the 7 month, the 8 month, and then you realize the business still not able to sustain itself, then I think that will be the one flag, red flag as far as the toxic of a business is concerned. You are supposed to ask yourself, what can I adjust in this business so that at least I can make a difference in this specific enterprise, right? And number two is when you realize the business is totally not making any cash. Right? It's not making any cash, and maybe you're dealing with perishable goods. Let's say you're running a grocery, nobody is coming on board, nobody is buying, and if they are coming, then it's not even able to sustain it, the business itself. All right. Number three, when you realize that the business is not really resonating with the environment that you did established in. For example, you put up a once a spirit or a bar in an area that you find people are conserved, and maybe you live close to religious people, and then you realize that each and every time you're harassing with them and the community is against the business, the community is against you, it's not does not even support you in any way or the other, or maybe insecurities or something of sort. So those are toxic signs that you're supposed to tell you. Either you shift from the area or you totally do what I call the tactical withdrawal from the business. Get the lessons with you. It may be discouraging. It's actually the most disheartening thing you can ever have. But get the right information that you've missed, get the lessons, and get moving. I always say this: never ever give up when it comes to business. All right. And the moment you realize maybe you're not blessed with you doing business, always delegate those responsibilities to somebody who understands. You may have cash with you, but again, you are not talented in a business perspective. Find out guys whom you can rely on to manage your business and move to the next level. All right, guys. So anyway, my name is Joseph. Talk about business, talk about finance, personal finance, and anything related to your money. And this is the channel you should go home by subscribing. Hit that red button out there and hit that notification bell so you'll be the first one to be notified when I upload a new video. And guess what, guys? As for now, see you in the next one. Goodbye.